Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we are going to start looking at the electrics for our Defender camper van. So we are going to run a split relay system. So in a vehicle like this, what you can do is you can connect your starter battery to your leisure battery using battery cables. And then from there, in between your battery and the starter battery to the leisure battery, you put in a split relay charger so that the charge from the alternator charges your leisure batteries. But while that's good, you're completely dependent on your engine running for that, and it never fully gets your leisure batteries up to 100% charge. So we have opted to go for this CTEK 20 amp battery charger. And what it will do is take the current from the alternator and send it via the starter battery to our leisure batteries and charge them at 20 amps every hour. Now, we have a 260 amp hour battery capacity, so that's a long time. That's 13 hours of the engine running. So what we are able to get with the CTEK is the 120 amp power management system. So what that means is that we actually have 140 amps of current running from the alternator through to our leisure batteries. So we'll only need to drive our car for 2 hours to be able to avail of the full charging capacity in the vehicle. And as well with this, it also allows us to have a solar input as well. So we can put solar panels on the roof. It's not really in our time frame now, but it's something that we probably will add to the Defender as time goes on. So we've got the split charge capacity, and then we have the solar charge capacity as well. So what will happen then is it will run through from our leisure batteries into our fuse board. So we've got a fuse panel here, we've got our blade fuses, and then it will run via majoritively this 12 amp cable. It'll run around to all of our appliances, whether that be the fridge, which will run on slightly thicker cable, or to the likes of our interior lights, or the rear work lights, the side lamps, anything like that. And everything will be controlled then through our switch panel. So we can switch on, switch off. We've got 2 USB chargers. We've got the cigarette lighter charging port, and then it'll also tell us what voltage we have in our batteries at any point in time, so that we can then monitor that, keep track of it, and we know if we need to go for a drive, or if we need to, if we need to plug in for a longer period of time and do kind of a 240 volt mains battery charge, which is something we'll probably get again down the line a little bit. So I'm gonna start into this. This is day one of electrics, and I've got a plan, and I'm just gonna try and lay things out as best as possible. I don't have the batteries here today, but probably tomorrow or the day after I'll have the batteries in, and we'll position everything, we'll get everything drawn up how we want it, and then from there we'll do all of our wiring to all of our appliances. There's still a little bit of the headlining to be done, and some of the cabling will run above, in between the headlining and the roof. So again, that needs to be done before we have everything set in stone where it's going. But as I said, I'm gonna get cracking on this, and I'll let you guys see what we're doing as we set all of this up. If there's any questions that you have about why we're doing it the way we're doing it, leave a question in the comments. I'll answer any questions that come in, or at least I'll try to answer them anyway. And if at the minute you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if at the end of the video you've enjoyed it, hit that like button as well. It really does help us out. This is the CTEK D250 SE. and you can set it up with the SMARTPASS 120S, and they'll sit like this, and then there are bars that go between the positives and the two negatives, well, the outputs here. So they'll be mounted onto the wall like this panel, with the battery bank nearby. So it'll really be, once we get the batteries in, we'll know how we want to position all of this. But they're here for now, and they will run everything into this fuse board. So we'll have the fuse board here, and it will have the positive running into here, and then an earth negative running out, as well as having a negative bus bar there as well. So I'll be able to label these, know exactly what each fuse is for. So stove, fridge, fans, our interior lights, our exterior lights, the water pump for the sink, everything will have its own specific space, and then I'll know if anything goes, the little red lights will flash up, and I'll be able to say, okay, the fuse for the 12 volt water pump has blown, and then we'll just swap it out, and hopefully everything will work again. So everything will be kind of up against this. It's challenging at the minute because this door won't open. Well, it will, but then we have to leave it open, and it's really annoying. So we have new doors on order, and hopefully they'll arrive and we can finish out this section fairly easily, because it's quite difficult to kind of climb over into the Defender every time. But we'll get these mounted up, and this, and then from that, as I've already shown, we'll have our switch panel. So there'll be an upright here, and our switch panel will kind of sit here. So we just need to figure out what way we're doing that, and what that will look like. I will probably rewire this because all of these are looped. So you have, it's the same feed going into all of your switches, which means that your voltage is getting shared across, and by the time it gets to the last one, the voltage drop will be significantly higher. So what we're going to do is, from the positive feed on this bus bar and this fuse board, we're going to run our positive feeds into all of these, and we will daisy chain our earth back to the earth bar on this as well, and we'll run all of the earth appliances back to this. So that's how we're going to do it. If I'm going to do it wrong, make sure to let me know in the comments, and yeah, I can maybe change it if I've done it terribly wrong. I am in no way a trained electrician, so take everything I'm doing with a pinch of salt. I am not recommending that you do it this way. This is just how we are doing it. So yeah, I'm gonna try and lay things out, see where everything's gonna go, how we're gonna cable it, all that sort of stuff. Let's get cracking. Brought the batteries with us today, so we have got 2 of these Energy Expedition Plus AGM batteries. So they are 130 amp hour. So that means that we have a total of 260 amp hours worth of battery capacity in the camper. Now, with AGM batteries, you're really only meant to discharge them to around 50%. So that means we're back to 130 amp hours. 130 amp hours will get us 2 days off grid. So we wouldn't need to plug in anywhere, we wouldn't need to go to a campsite. We have 2 days off grid without starting the engine. And as I just mentioned previously, with the relay system that we have with this CTEK and the SMARTPASS. If we have the engine on, if we drive for an hour, that'll give us 120, 140 amps through every hour, which means that we will be back up to full charge within 60 minutes of starting the alternator. So the little switch panel that we have will give us an indication of our battery capacity, what we have left, so we'll then know when we need to turn on the alternator. I think with the CTEK you can also get an additional connection that allows you to gauge exactly what the percentage of your battery is at, so we'll probably look into that as well. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see where we're going to fit these, fit everything else, and then when Leah gets back, she will do the final check, give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down in terms of practicalities and placement, and then from that we'll then start kind of thinking about where we're going to trace all our wiring and what it's going to look like. So it's a miserable day, so you'll probably hear the rain, you'll hear the wind blowing on the shed door, but what better day to be inside doing the electrics than outside doing something on the body work or something like that. So I'm gonna get cracking. I'll let you guys watch along in time lapse. Now our starter battery is in here, and the leisure battery will run off the positive terminal here through to one of the positive terminals here. Then from that, these batteries will be connected, and then the negative terminal from here will run back to, you see just there, the negative terminal. So what I need to figure out now is how I want to go about doing that. I think the easiest way might be to take the floor panel or the seat panel and mark out where I want two holes to come out. When I put this seat back, you can see that there's still clearance through. So I think if I drill my holes kind of here, then I'll be able to bring it up through there, run it along here behind these battens, and then down and across the floor up to here. Or kind of run it to here, and because it has to run through this CTEK system. So positioning will be decided, but I think that's the way I'm going to run through. Let me know what you think about that. Anybody that's converted a Defender into a camper, is that how you did it? Or, you know, if there's a better way, you know, let me know. So we have decided where our batteries are going to sit. They're going to sit here so that we have space on this side to fit in our camp chairs, our spike ball set, all of that sort of stuff. And then we also have a little bit of room here at the front that if we do have longer items from time to time, then we've got the full width to store those. What I'm going to do now is put in our fuse board. I'm going to mount it up here, and so we'll just set it in like this. I'll mark where I'm going to drill through for pilot hose, and then we'll screw it in, and then it'll be all set for when we want to put anything into it. So this is where we're at currently. So fuse board connected through with, there will be a 50 amp fuse in there. I don't have a fuse in just because I don't want a complete circuit at the moment while I'm setting everything up. And then from the battery through there. So next on the list is to get the CTEK, which is sitting there, installed on this side, and we'll go from there into the battery, and we'll figure out what we're going to do about the starter battery as well. And then I think we'll do our battery to battery connections while we're at it. So I'm going to keep going, and I'll give you progress reports as we go. We are deciding where to put our switch panel. So this switch panel here, and we think here will be a good place. So I've cut a little shape out for down in here to act as a base, and then this panel here then will sit in here like this and run flush up against this edge panel here. And then we'll have our switch panel that sits just in here. So in order, I think I've shown you this before, but when I'm doing templates, we still have some offcuts of our insulation. So what I was able to do was measure out where we needed for the cables at the back. So doing that, I got this bit, and then I drew round further, so I know that this will house all of this. So this goes this way. So this is my requirement for space. So you can see there that all fits in here. So we can position our switch panel here, and then, you know, throughout the day we'll be able to switch on the lights and the hob, all of the electrics, everything getting switched on at this point right here. So we think this is going to be the best place for it, and I think it's going to look really good. Just like that, it's installed. You can still see we've got our connections at the back. We'll take it out before, well, we still need to rewire the rest of it, and all the rest of the cabling will run in behind here, back down to the fuse box and beside the batteries. But quite happy with how that turned out, sitting at the edge of our backrest, off our seat. So yeah, looking good. So now my fuse board is connected to the battery, and battery 1 is connected to battery 2. So we're running a parallel battery setup, meaning that we're running positive to positive, negative to negative. That maintains a 12 volt system, but gives us double the capacity. So it adds the amp hours rather than adding the voltage of the batteries. If we were to run positive to negative and positive to negative, that would give us a 24 volt system, but still only 130 amp hours, and that's not what we want. So that's why we're running positive to positive. We'll run negative to negative, and we'll run kind of positive out from here, negative back to the earth from here. So that's how we're going to run this system. So I'm going to keep going. I now need to connect it up to the CTEK, and from there, you know, we should then be in a position to see how everything's going to run, and maybe start thinking about cabling some of the appliances, whether that be lights or whatever it might be. But we'll get everything kind of somewhat up and running today. So let's keep going. All of the initial stage wiring is now done. So now it's the moment of truth to see whether or not I have wired it correctly so that we have power running from the batteries into the fuse board back to the switch panel at the back of the Defender. So let's go and see. So power running from the starter battery through the battery management system into our battery A, linked to battery B. Everything's linked and earthed, coming through this 50 amp fuse into our fuse board. We've got a fuse in, we've fused the cable that will be for the fridge. So if we go to the back, we come in here and flick on our fridge switch, we should see a little light. Yes. So we've got power running to the switch panel, and then from the switch panel we will run everything out the back again, and from the back then to all of our appliances. Everything is wired up. We have the fridge, the hob, the the water pump, we have the outside LEDs, we have the inside LEDs, we have the 12 volt socket, we have the voltmeter, we have the 2 USB plugs into there, and if you look up there you can see my lights are on. All we need to do now is wire our appliances up to all of the connection points, so we'll make a start on that. We don't have everything ready, so I've got the hob connected, but I don't have my fuel tank yet, so I can't get it, I can't turn it on yet, because when you turn it on, the little fuel pump will want to prime, and I don't have anything to prime it with. The water pump is here, but we don't have our water tank yet, which is annoying. So all of those things will get done over the next few days, and I'll link back in on the video here as we go through that to keep you guys up to date on everything that's happening. But electrics have went in easier than I thought they would have. I think I've said it before, but I am in no way qualified. I have learned from other people doing this on YouTube, so please don't use this as a how-to, but this is how I'm doing it, based on other more informative how-to videos that I have watched on YouTube. This is for entertainment purposes only. So I'm going to keep going, get connected what I can, and then I'll link back in with you guys a little bit later on. Just finished wiring up our water pump. So the water pump, 12 volt pump, but it is running through a switch in the sink. So the way that it works is it runs from the main fuse board into this switch panel. So it's switch number 3, so you can see the little light is on, and then let me show you where everything goes. So we switch that on, it's running this red cable, and it's coming down through here, and then if I clear away all this clutter, you'll see that there's a live feed going to our sink. The tap swivels nicely, so cup here, sink here, wash your hands outside, whatever you need to do, that's all set up. So you can see there that there's the tube, there is the live, then there's the neutral, then there's another live. So this live is running to this pump. We jump out, you can see that the live runs into this brown, and then the blue is running into this earth cable, which is running back to the main fuse board under the other side of the countertop. So what should happen when I turn on the switch, we should have, hey, it worked. So this is a submersible pump, so this will go into our, if I bring it around here, this will go down into our water tank, which will sit right here, and the tubing that you saw going into the tap is running through here, so it will then go down into the tube, it'll go along, and then it'll come down, sit like that, but it'll sit at the bottom of the freshwater tank, and then it'll draw from here over to there, and we'll have fresh water. So a considerable amount of time has passed, and not only do we have the tap all hooked up now, we have all of the electrics, all of the camper build is pretty much finished at this point. So new camper build full walkthrough will be coming soon, so make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever that video goes live. But I'll show you what we've been doing. So our switch panel is all mounted up. We've got a 12-volt socket there, we've got 2 USBs here. I have the pump for the water on, so if we come round to here, we've got this little swivel tap, so it can go into the sink or come out here, and when I flick the switch, it draws the water from the pump here to here. The rest of our electrics, we have, if I put this one on, we've got 2 interior LED lights, and then this one does our rear lights as well. So when we're camped up, we'll have light outside, so just knock those off. Alrighty, so gonna wrap up the video there for today, and as I said, new video will be coming out shortly with a full camper walk around. If you have any questions about our electrical setup, do let me know. I'll answer them in the comment section below. And yeah, thank you to all of our new subscribers. We've had quite a few over the last number of weeks and months, and just a big welcome to you. Thanks for subscribing and following along. If you've enjoyed the video so far, do give us that thumbs up, share it with your friends. It helps with the old YouTube algorithm, helps other people see these videos as well. So yeah, see you in the next episode.